Straight ahead on Good Morning Northwest HD, new arrests in the case of a teenager selling her 7-year-old sister to men at a party. Why residents in that apartment where it happened are afraid to talk to police. That's coming up next.
Plus, the new rules allowing depressed commercial airline pilots to fly jets.
And it's a good time to recycle prices at a 20-month high, including things for like circuit boards.
And coming up, what it takes to wrap a vehicle. We're going to talk about that and the forecast that has wet weather here on Good Morning Northwest and Manufacturing Monday.
Live from the KXLY4 HD Broadcast Center in downtown Spokane, you're waking up with Good Morning Northwest HD.
Good Morning Northwest. We are tracking a developing story out of Northwest Spokane this morning with a fire forcing a mother and her 2 daughters from their home late Easter Sunday.
Flames broke out around 11:30 last night in the 1700 block of West Augusta, killing the family dog. Crews managed to quickly extinguish the fire, which began in the front living room area, causing heavy smoke damage to the home. The mother and her 5- and 10-year-old daughters are okay, but firefighters were not able to revive the family pet with oxygen and a special canine mask. The cause of the fire is under investigation, but likely started on a couch in the front room. The Red Cross is helping the family. And we have one school closure to report this morning.
Medical Lake Elementary School is closed today so crews can clean up from a small electrical fire. It happened late last week, and that closure should only last a day. All right, we hope you're having a great Monday morning. We're so glad that you woke up with us. I'm Mike Gonzalez.
And I'm Colleen O'Brien in for Kalai Chalk, who is enjoying family time with her new son.
Yeah. And we've got Mark Peterson. We don't want to forget about you there, big boy. How's it going out there? KXLY4 update now as police make arrests in the brutal rape of a 7-year-old New Jersey girl.
A 19-year-old and 20-year-old man are both under arrest for raping the girl. Up to 5 more arrests could be coming. Police say the girl was brought to a party by her 15-year-old sister, who then took money from the men to have sex with the little girl.
I think everyone is shocked, outraged, and horrified by the barbaric act of monster pervert rapist.
Residents in the apartment have been slow to provide more details out of fear of gang retaliation. The 15-year-old sister is also under arrest for sexual assault and forced prostitution. A powerful earthquake disrupts Easter celebrations for people in 2 countries and 3 states.
And now the wait is on for aftershocks from that 7.2 magnitude quake.
That was the scariest thing I've ever experienced.
It's probably felt by at least 20 million people at this point.
The quake was so powerful, people felt it more than 300 miles away in Las Vegas and as far north as California's Bay Area. But the most severe damage is south of the border. Mexicali, Mexico is just 19 miles from the epicenter.
We were just looking around and everything was falling off the shelves. Everything was on the ground. People were screaming.
There are reports of at least 3 sizable aftershocks and dozens of small tremblers since Sunday's quake.
A KXLY update now, and new rules allowing pilots taking antidepressants to fly commercial jets.
The FAA says it's time to remove the stigma about depression, but says it will monitor depressed pilots closely. Pilots will only be allowed to take 1 of 4 antidepressants and will be grounded for a year to make sure that they're stable enough to fly. The FAA is also asking any pilot who's secretly taking medication to come forward. Businesses at State Line are bracing for a major change.
The bridge that connects them to Interstate 90 will soon close, essentially cutting them off from many customers. When the Appleway Bridge is closed for demolition, customers will either have to take exit 5 miles up the road at Liberty Lake or drive to Post Falls and back. That's a 7-mile detour. The bridge is already crumbling and weight restrictions are in place. Big rigs can no longer cross the bridge safely. And while businesses in the area worry about what the closure will do to their bottom line, many do agree replacing it is best for safety reasons.
It's probably a good idea. The bridge is pretty ratty.
The start and end dates for this project are not entirely clear. Flyers indicate next summer as the completion date, but business owners here it could take up to 2 years. Now for news around the world, more and more survivors are being pulled from a mine in China that collapsed more than a week ago. Chinese officials say at least 100 of the 153 that were trapped are now free. China's Central Television reports some of the men attached themselves to the wall with their belts and hung there for 3 days until they were able to get into a floating mine cart. At least 42 people are dead and another 200 wounded in back-to-back suicide blasts this weekend in Baghdad.
Bombers detonated themselves outside of several embassies, including those belonging to Iran, Egypt, and Germany. Authorities say they were able to thwart 2 other attacks aimed at killing foreign diplomats. None of the embassies were seriously damaged. Buildings nearby took the brunt of those explosions.
More news around the world. Australian salvage crews are hoping to keep a Chinese tanker from breaking apart over the Great Barrier Reef. The ship ran aground and is already leaking oil. Investigators say the ship was way off course and didn't alert anyone until 2 hours after the collision. It will likely take weeks to clean up the mess.
Take a look at this in news around the Northwest. A Seattle news crew just happened upon this fire as they were driving to cover a different story. When they got there, the family had just escaped and neighbors were dialing 911. Firefighters got to the scene quickly but were not able to save that house. Red Cross is helping out that family. South Carolina police are on the lookout for a crafty pharmacy robber. The man was able to drill holes into the back of the building and eventually knock down the wall. Investigators say he got away with more than 38 Loratab pills. In news for your money this morning, a New York bar and grill is now basing their prices off popularity instead of cost. The bar owner says if everyone is having the same thing, that menu item will go up in price. However, if something isn't being ordered very often, he'll lower the price. He says it's taking the law of supply and demand literally. Sounds like a great idea.
What I don't get, though, is that if it's a popular item...
Yeah, you would think more, he would charge less, though, you know? It almost seems opposite.
It does, and then how do you keep track of your inventory of what to buy? Because once the price goes up, nobody will want to buy it anymore.
You're right. Let's take it up with that guy.
I'm punching holes in this theory.
Well, a study published by the American Sociological Association finds that having a husband who works long hours can significantly hurt a woman's career, leaving her less time for paid work.
That's because she's still expected to do a majority of the housework and perform most of the caregiving for children. Overall, women whose husbands work 60 hours or more per week were 42% more likely to quit their jobs, while husbands whose wives work 60 or more hours outside the home were no more likely to leave their positions. As long as work hours introduce conflict between work and family, many dual-earner families return to the traditional roles of the breadwinning husband and homemaker wife.
You know, moms should be commended because, a lot of times they have to work and take care of the kids.
A lot of single dads, too.
Yeah, no question.
In an effort to go green, that old metal cabinet or pipe in your garage might be worth some big bucks.
Yeah, the price of scrap metal is climbing. It has jumped 70% in just the last year. KXLY4's Eric Loney is live at Earthworks this morning. And Eric, sounds like a great time to recycle.
Colleen, Mike, back to you guys.
Eric, quick question. We hear so many times that thieves, they bring their copper or other metal items. How do they verify that this stuff is legit and you didn't steal it from somebody?
Mike wants to know, like when you have people bring in copper that looks a little shady, how do you verify that this stuff is legit and hasn't been stolen?
Well, if you have over $30 and you're not with a business, you have to wait 10 days for us to mail the check. So that weeds out most of the people right there that are looking for instant cash for their habits.
Okay. All right, Jim, thanks very much. There you go, Mike. So you better not try to bring that stuff in.
Yeah, I know. I look shady, so they probably ID me, throw me out of the joint. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Now, Mark Peterson, he's out at Signs for Success, and we're talking rain this week.